your loyalty is being used against you. The company you stayed at for years already budgeted your replacement at a higher salary. Someone with your exact job title, your exact experience, maybe even fewer skills than you, is earning twice your salary right now. Not because they're smarter. Not because they got lucky. They simply understood something about how compensation actually works in the corporate world. And by the end of this video, you will too. I'm going to walk you through the exact phases Real professionals follow to move from average paying companies to ones that pay 2 or 3 times more without a fancy MBA or knowing the right people. Let's start with the truth most career advice skips over entirely. Your salary has very little to do with how hard you work. A senior analyst at a mid-size firm in Dallas might earn $80,000 a year and work 60-hour weeks. That same analyst, doing nearly identical work at Google or Goldman Sachs, pulls in $160 or more. The gap isn't effort, it's the revenue model of the company you work for. High-margin companies in tech, finance, consulting, and pharma pay more because each employee generates more profit per head. According to McKinsey's research on talent economics, top quartile companies pay 30 to 50% above market, not as charity, but because their business models support it. So the first shift is brutal but necessary. Stop measuring your worth by your current paycheck and start measuring it by what the market actually pays for your skill set. Now that you understand why the gap exists, the next move is figuring out exactly where you stand. Most people guess their market value. They look at one salary website, see a range, and pick a number that feels reasonable. That's not research, that's wishful thinking. Here is what actually works. Go to levels.fyi for tech roles, Glassdoor for corporate roles, and Blind for candid, unfiltered salary data from real employees. Cross-reference at least 3 sources. Talk to recruiters even if you're not actively looking, because recruiters will tell you what companies are paying right now, not 6 months ago. A product manager I mentored did exactly this last year. She was earning $95,000 at a Series B startup. After 2 weeks of research and 3 recruiter conversations, she realized companies like Salesforce and Adobe were paying $150 to $170 for her level. That 30-minute habit of talking to the market changed her entire trajectory. Knowing your worth means nothing if your resume and online presence don't communicate it. Before you send a single application, you need to reposition yourself. Rewrite every bullet on your resume using the formula, action plus metric plus business impact. Not managed a team of 5, instead, led a 5-person engineering pod that shipped a payments feature reducing checkout abandonment by 18%. Companies that pay well hire for impact, not activity. Update your LinkedIn headline to reflect the role you want, not the one you have. If you're a marketing manager aiming for a senior role at a FAANG company, your headline should say something like Growth Marketing Leader, B2B SaaS, Demand Gen, Paid Acquisition rather than just your current title and employer. Start posting 1 or 2 insights a week on LinkedIn about your domain expertise. You don't need to go viral. You need hiring managers to click your profile and think, this person clearly knows their stuff. Here's where most people sabotage themselves. They spray 50 applications into job portals and wait. That approach has a response rate below 5% for competitive roles. Instead, flip the funnel. Identify 15 to 20 companies that are known to pay well in your industry. Research which ones have open roles that match your background. Then find a real human connection at each company, a recruiter, a hiring manager, a former colleague, even someone you engage with on LinkedIn for a few weeks before reaching out. Referrals account for nearly 40% of hires at companies like Amazon and Meta, according to their own published hiring data. One warm introduction beats 100 cold applications. Also, and this matters, apply to some roles you think you're slightly underqualified for. High-paying companies expect you to grow into the role. If you meet every single requirement on the job description, you're probably aiming too low. Interviewing at premium companies is a different sport. The questions go deeper, the expectations are sharper, and they're evaluating how you think more than what you know. At Amazon, every answer needs to map to their leadership principles. At McKinsey, your case interview performance matters more than your resume. At Stripe or Shopify, they want to see you solve ambiguous problems live. preparation is non-negotiable. For behavioral rounds, build a library of 8 to 10 stories from your career that demonstrate leadership, conflict resolution, data-driven decisions, and customer obsession. Practice the STAR method until it feels natural, not rehearsed. For technical or case rounds, invest at least 3 weeks of structured prep. Use resources specific to your target company, not generic interview tips. Mock interviews with someone who has actually worked at that company are worth more than 50 hours of solo practice. You've made it to the offer stage. This is where the biggest money gets left on the table. Most candidates accept the first number because they're afraid the company will pull the offer. That almost never happens. Companies that extend offers have already invested thousands of dollars in recruiting and interviewing you. They want you to say yes. Always negotiate. Even a modest ask can add $10,000 to $20,000 to your base, and significantly more when you factor in stock, bonuses, and sign-on packages. Name a specific number based on your market research, not a vague request for more. If the base salary is firm, negotiate on equity, annual bonus targets, sign-on bonus, or even a 6-month review for early promotion. A friend of mine negotiated a $40,000 sign-on bonus at Microsoft simply by saying, "I'm leaving unvested equity at my current company, can we bridge that gap?" It took one email. 15 minutes of discomfort can be worth years of compounding income. So here is your move, starting tonight. Open 3 salary research tabs: Levels.fyi, Glassdoor, and Blind. Spend 30 minutes finding out what companies actually pay for your role and level. Write down the number. That gap between where you are and where you could be, that's not a dream. That's a project with clear steps. And you just learned every single one of them. Save this video, start your research tonight, and come back when you land that offer. I'll be here. That's a wrap, thanks for watching. If this gave you one idea you can use today, hit like and subscribe. See you in the next one.